came out today. This is going to help you stay alive and kind of just ease into the game. It can be a little bit intimidating, but if you have any experience with survival games and or Ark, I think you're going to be just fine. We're going to move through things real fast, so let's get started. Here we go. First, when you get started into the game, you're going to spawn in a random area somewhere located near the southern part of the map. Press M to see your map. The golden droplet is going to be you. The map may be a little bit confusing at first, but basically this entire southeastern area is a giant body of water. This should probably be the very first place that you head to. The river and oasis can typically be seen from very far away by the giant ruins, aqueducts, and mountains surrounding the area. So even in the area that you spawn at, you should be able to see those mountaintops, the braziers, and the aqueduct that's ruined in this location. Once here, you're going to find everything you're going to need to survive, including water, food, and all the materials that you'll need to build your very first items in Conan Exiles. Once in the game, you can hold down the T button in order to talk to everyone in the local area. If you notice on the left-hand side there, it'll mention exactly who's speaking. When someone's speaking to you, it will also give you a distance on how far away they are, and how well you can hear them will be dictated by the volume of their voice. The volume of the voice drops off fairly quickly after about 15 meters, so do understand that. If you don't want to hear anyone's voice because you're quite simply better than them, go ahead over to the escape button, go to settings, and then in the audio section, there is a slider noted as voice chat volume. Go ahead and bring that all the way down to 0, and you won't be able to hear anyone talking. In the game, most things like sticks and rocks can be picked up by pressing the E button over and over again, but there's more important things than that. In order to drink water without a water skin in the beginning, point yourself toward the water with your cursor and then begin pressing the E button. You're going to see your area in the upper left-hand corner of the screen with the water droplet begin to fill up as you do so. It may take 4 presses in order to get down from thirsty to full. For early sustenance, you can usually go ahead and start grabbing plant fibers with your hands, and sometimes you'll find handfuls of insects. Although these are the lowest level of food that you can eat, they're excellent if you don't have anything else to tide you over in the meantime. Inside of your inventory, you can click on the item at hand, and then you can click on the use button in order to eat it. Bugs aside, early in the game, you should start looking for a better food source, which is typically meat. These sad little rabbits are perfect, they don't move very quickly, and you can usually hack them one time with a sword. Make sure to harvest the animal with one of your tools after you kill it in order to get the chance for some meat, hide, and some bone. If you're feeling adventurous, you can try and take down one of the big lumbering creatures called shalebacks. I would suggest having a sword crafted, as it will do much more damage compared to a pickaxe or a hatchet. When harvested, a shaleback will give you something called savory flesh, which is an excellent food source that you can utilize to survive. Now that you have some food, make sure to cook it at a campfire so you don't contract food poisoning, which is a real pain in the ass. In order to build a campfire, once you gain some points to spend in your crafting, go ahead and press the I button to access your character. From there, you can go ahead and click on attributes, learn recipes, and make sure that you learn the experienced survivalist at the cost of 1 point at level 3. This will allow you to make a campfire as well as a sealed water skin. The campfire is going to need 2 things in order to work: some source of fuel, such as wood, and then the items that you want to cook. You're going to see your raw flesh here and here. Go ahead and put both items inside and then turn the fire on, pressing the on button. It'll take a little bit of time, but your meat will go ahead and cook. Don't worry about leaving it on there, it doesn't burn. At least not yet. Once your meat starts to cook, you're going to notice it turn from a kind of pinkish color into a darker brown color. Once you have this, you can move it into your inventory. You can go ahead and click on more, and then you can use it to regain some of your hunger. Remember that savory flesh from the shaleback? That turns into a grilled steak. Grilled steak is fantastic because if you notice on the upper left-hand corner of our bar, we have about 3/4 of our current hunger level. If we go over to the steak and eat it, it'll regain 1/4 of that entire level, bringing us back to full. You can craft on the move, so always be crafting if you can. Go ahead and queue up several items in your crafting menu, as you can queue up to 8 items at a time. These items will craft even as you move. And if you have areas in your hotbar where the item can go, it'll refill that area, or if you're making armor, you'll automatically wear it once the armor is done. Crafting is also one of the ways to gain experience points, so rather than throwing materials away, feel free to craft them into gloves, boots, or anything else you can make out of them just to get some of that sweet XP. If you prefer to play in the third-person view, you can do so by pressing the P button. This will allow you to see your character from over the shoulder. If you'd like to get a vanity shot, press the V button. This will give you a free camera that you'll have to move around your character in order to see what kind of weapons and armor they're wearing and to get sweet screenshots in. Also, if you want to get rid of the UI completely, you can press Alt-Z. There's an endowment bar in the character creation screen. For maximum genital impressiveness, keep the slider all the way to the right. If you plan on fighting anything early in the game, go ahead at level 3 and use one of your points to unlock Mercenary. This will give you access to the stone sword and the wooden shield. The stone sword is substantially better than the hatchet or pickaxe, doing 30 points of health damage compared to 19 points of health damage with the stone hatchet and 19 points of health damage with the stone pick. Again, you can see the damage of any item that you have by clicking on it and looking over here at the bottom left underneath your inventory. When you're brand new, stay away from the bonfires that you'll be able to see at a distance, especially at night. These have NPC exiles in them, and they can be very difficult for a new player to combat, especially one that's underprepared or doesn't have very much equipment. If you think you might get caught in a combat that you don't want to be involved in, always make sure to save some stamina up. Stamina is used by performing many of the harvesting actions, jumping, as well as sprinting. If you don't have any stamina, not only can you not swing your weapon, you also can't sprint away from any hostiles that are following you and or chasing you. Being able to run is an excellent defense. You're going to find that you're able to outrun basically everything early in the game. Craft a fiber bedroll as soon as you can. The fiber bedroll can be found under the recipes under Apprentice Craftsman along with your stone hatchet and twine. All of these items are going to be very useful, so it's probably a good idea to spend one of your points early on. You can get this at level 2. A fiber bedroll basically gives you a one-time respawn, so you don't have to respawn back at one of the starting areas. When you put one down, go ahead and hold down the E button, which will open up a radial menu, and one of the items is Interact. Press on the Interact button and it'll mention that your spawn point has been updated. Feel free to make several bedrolls. You can have more than one. It gets incredibly dark at night, so go ahead and craft an improvised torch. You can wield a weapon or tool in one hand and a torch in the other, allowing you to continue to craft, search, grab items, or even fight monsters. So don't feel that by having a torch in your hand, you're giving up your ability to defend yourself or continue progressing in the game. When building, if you've ever played Ark before, you're going to feel right at home. Rust as well. Conan Exiles uses a snap system, allowing you to take your item that's in your hotbar and place it any place where it'll snap. Feel free to use the middle mouse roller in order to move things from out to in, and notice that there is text to at least show you which side is going to be the outer face of something like a wall and which face is going to be the inner face. Play around with the rotation system a little bit and understand that you can rotate just about anything that you can place down, including stairs, foundations, and other placeables such as chests and workbenches. When building, you'll need foundations for many structures, but something cool about Conan Exiles is that you can build directly into the side of things like giant trees and stone formations, allowing you to make cool buildings that scale right up the side of different entities, like a treehouse. If you ever need to demolish something, go up to the item, put it in front of you, and hold down the E button. The radial option menu will come up yet again, and one of the items will be dismantle. If you do press dismantle, just know that anything that structure is holding up may tumble down as well, as there's a structural integrity system within Conan Exiles. Also, by dismantling, you do get some of your resources that were utilized in order to build the object back in your inventory. Alright folks, that's it for now. Like I said, this was just a real quick tutorial just for the starting people getting into Conan Exiles to get you prepared and started in the game so that maybe you'll have a little bit of an easier time dealing with starvation and thirst. Understand that the game just released, so there are going to be things that are somewhat subject to change. There also may be some bugs and problems that you encounter as we are currently in early access. There are a lot of systems within Conan Exiles, including the experience system, the crafting system, and the combat system, not to mention a PvP system. So eventually, I would like to get some interaction with all of those systems and bring some tips and tricks for all of them to you guys if you think that you'd enjoy that and if that may assist you in playing the game better or just having a more fun time. Also, if you ever want to see some regular Conan Exiles gameplay, I'm involved in a very large YouTuber server where a whole bunch of us, over 84 to be exact, are involved together getting community stuff done in order for us to bring different parts of the game to you guys. We're going to be doing things like PvP with one another, testing of weapons and structures, blowing things up, having contests, building big giant coliseums and whatnot. It's going to be a blast. Feel free to check that out in the description below for the link that I will have to the playlist. We have both streamers and YouTubers in the group, some with over 1 million subscribers, so there may be someone